Hello.
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 Whoa.
Everybody hear everybody?
Yes, and
Yes.
and Sam can't make it, right?
I don't think so.
Okay, right.
I think he's in the fields doing field stuff.
Okay.
Nope. Lost Keith.
It
Yep, there we go.
crashed immediately.
Keith
Oof.
is back.
Uh, hey, that's why you get extra lives in this game.
Josh, you have the reins of this one, buddy.
Okay. We have a special episode with a special guest. We have Billy Weldon.
Hello.
Yay. Hello.
Yeah. How's it going?
Not too bad. How are you guys doing? I
Good,
should
good.
Good.
probably
Thanks for joining us.
do this. Update my name on here. Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been a lot of fun listening to you guys. Happy to be able to join.
Yay.
Then,
Happy for you to join us.
listeners of the channel, Billy is our number one commenter. He is the legend. He has come up with so many great picks for our episodes. Absolute MVP of the chat. So it's awesome that we got to have him on. Yeah.
Well, now I don't know what to say about that. So thank you.
Okay. But yeah, we're just going to dive into this episode, and I felt like it would be a fitting topic to get a the perspective of a newer player and kind of also reminisce back to whenever we started really getting into Commander 10 years ago versus getting into Commander now. What's the what the differences? What's the different experience like? Problems and things that we found confusing versus problems and things that you might have found confusing. They've only released about 20 new mechanics since we started 10 years ago. So actually, I don't think 20 was even appropriate. I think it's more like 100 new mechanics since we started 10 years ago. So the later you learn
Yeah.
Magic, the harder Magic is to learn. So, but we'll get into that. So, yeah, but
20 new
starting.
mechanics and like a couple of actual mechanic creature cards, which is kind of funny.
Yes. And then but only most of those new mechanics are kicker with different names. So,
Yeah. Right.
okay. But anyway, diving into it, we'll do some little bit of a icebreaker. So, Billy, what is your favorite commander?
Yeah, so my favorite commander I is probably Kutzel. I've actually got my like Kutzel commander deck like oh it blurs it out. It's weird.
Oh no.
The
No,
opposite, but yeah, Kutzel the green white has been a good starting point. Like you said, there's a lot of fun stuff or a lot of different mechanics to keep track of. So having him be like nobody gets to do anything on your turn. Simple, straightforward. I don't have to keep track of anything for that.
yes, the bane of blue and black players everywhere. No Doom Blades, no counter spells, none of that's going on during your combats.
No, nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then yeah, going around what commander is everyone kind of like really enjoying now? Like have you have any shifts in like your polling for who your commander player to reach your favorite deck to reach for right now is?
I'd still say that my favorite commander that I have built and I fell in love with is Nekusar. Um, he's a fun little uh, Mario Party running type of commander for me. Um, he's a little zombie wizard for two, a blue, black, and a red. If no one knows who he is, just in case. At the beginning of each player's draw step, that player draws an additional card. Whenever an opponent draws a card, Nekasar the Mind Razor deals 1 damage to that player. Um, so he's my favorite. I don't really have a deck that I've been reaching for more often, except for my um, Tom Bombadil Saga's kind of Marvel What If deck that I'm still trying to work on. Work out the kinks and try and see if I can get it to perform a little bit better. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah. Keith, anything new that you've been racking up or maybe brewing to rack up?
Well, I really like my Mendicant Core Guidelight deck. That's the blue-white robot that has max speed where you can like copy any artifact you play for like one colorless. It's pretty cool. Like gotten a lot of cool includes from like Edge of Eternities and stuff, but I still don't have like all of the cards in paper yet to like actually play it. So it's pretty cool though.
Right on. So my favorite commander is probably Kurdur, the Durham Scourge, just goading everything. But recently, I've been playing a Taiga Master Opportunist deck, where the second spell you cast gets to spend 4, and then gets exiled as you cast a copy. And it is a logistical nightmare to have something go into suspend as you cast the copy, and then cast it in 4 turns from exile, and then just all sorts of confusing things. And it's been a headache, but a fun headache. But just
Did you
kind
say
of
did you say Taiga?
Hygum.
Tigum.
Oh, I thought you said Taiga. I was like, oh, we have a rapper's secret layer that I didn't know about. Okay. All right.
Yes.
Sorry,
That
my
Yeah.
bad.
that Tigum operates like pretty similar to Fibblethip Lost on the Range, except
Mhm.
he gives cards plot
Yeah.
and you can play them off the top of your library. But after you've plotted, if you can basically play anything for free, but at sorcery speed, like on a later turn.
Yeah.
That's something I've been wanting to build for a while. Also mono blue.
Yeah, but then I also kind of wanted that to crescendo to us to go back in time to who our first commanders were. So then,
Mhm.
Billy, was Kutzel wasn't your first commander, were they?
No. Actually, the first commander set that I got was actually at Gen Con with Josh. He pointed out one of the new Capenna decks that was also green, white, red. Um, and I started there. I forget who I flipped from the intended commander to the new one was, but swapped some people around so that I was always making tokens, and that was a lot of fun.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah, I think it was Jenny Faye. Is that the name of that card? I feel like that's
Um, I've got it back here.
okay.
As I don't know if I disappeared into the background or not.
No,
Yeah,
you were there the whole time. We didn't lose you.
Ginny Fey, hey, nailed it.
Yeah, so uh, for whatever reason, I've introduced most of the people that I've taught magic with Naya colors. I taught my wife with Naya colors. I taught Billy with Naya colors. Naya's, you get access to the green for the ramp. You get white for like lots of cool creatures and various red interactions. I feel like that's a cozy little triumph to learn within.
Hmm.
It definitely was. It felt like really easy to I don't kind of figure out how the interactions worked and gave stuff to do, but also I didn't have to wait and like make sure like okay, well I got to get this to this to this. Just always gives something to do.
Yeah, so then looking back, so Nathan, was Nekusar your very first commander, or did you have one before him?
No, I actually had a couple before him, but the one that I am for sure is my first ever like commander was Neferox, Overlord of Grixis. So for 4 and 2 black, he's a demon with flying, exalted. Whenever a creature you control attacks alone, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn. And then when he attacks alone, defending player sacrifices a creature. So it was a big mono black deck of death to everybody else's creatures and hoping to get in my bigger creatures and I had a handful of Liliana Planeswalkers in there to try and just overload the board with some power and um but I found out later down the road that it wasn't a legal deck, like when I added it to Scryfall, because I had a couple of cards that had white pips in them or things of that nature. So I had to deconstruct it, and um, after that happened, I didn't really have it together anyway. It wasn't a fun one to play. It was one that kind of aggravated people because they felt like they couldn't do anything um, because their stuff was getting killed because I would attack alone if they only had, one creature out there and then, it wasn't fun. And it's one of those decks that is fun to play the first time, but then you feel kind of gross and don't want to play it anymore. So I think that's why I kind of cut it off the table and let those creatures move on to different decks.
And then back then in like 2012 and such, whenever we were playing, there weren't a bunch of legends being released every year. Every set might have like 4 or 5 legends. So uh, the big jerk demon is just one of the options you had that year, and you grabbed it
Yeah.
and went with it. So and
Yeah, and it
then
helped it helped that I was a big fan of the black color planeswalkers too, so it was just one that kind of piqued my interest and allowed me to play with all those too, because at the beginning I was kind of just trading for planeswalkers because I was, thought that those were the best cards, and I probably lost a lot of very, very good cards and very valuable cards that I wish I would have had now, but that's okay.
you know, back in 2012, 2013, yeah, I'll give you like 5 cyclonic riffs for that Liliana. That sounds
Yeah.
about right.
Yep. Yep. I want to talk about it.
So then Keith, do you remember your first deck?
Yeah, I think I found it. So I used to play Magic in like junior high and high school, like at lunch at school. So we started with like 60 card formats, and I stopped playing for a little bit, but then you guys were playing Commander at school. So I like scrambled to put something together from one of those decks, and I think it was Shirei, Shirei, Shizo's Caretaker, a card from Betrayers of Kamigawa. So it has whenever a creature with power 1 or less is put into your graveyard from play, you may return that creature card to play under your control at end of turn if Shiro Shize's Caretaker is still in play. So I think it was just like mono black aristocrats or something like that,
Yeah, that's about
if
right.
I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah. And then my first one was the Kalia of the Vast pre-con.
Cool.
Hmm.
And then so that was good, but
Still a playable card too.
yeah, but I had it all in like as it was. The actual pre-con is kind of hot garbage. You really have to go in and like modify it to be good, but everyone is used to seeing good, nice, modified Kalia deck. So whenever I'd pull it up to the table, I'd get like hard
Targeted.
focus. I was like, no, I swear there's not good cards in here. There's the stupid avatar that gives everything double strike, or like the one black demon that makes it so like you something like only black creatures could attack in like a 3-color deck, so then it made half of your field useless or something like that. There's some
Nice.
garbage ass cards in there. But yeah. Uh, But yeah, so just kind of like having the different variety of different commanders when you are going to build a new deck is just such a different experience. You almost have like decision paralysis with how many they have these days versus like 10 years ago, how many they would print in a set versus now. And then, yeah, so uh, what? So gonna pivot to from decision paralysis and like a whole bunch of stimuli. What was kind of confusing and kind of hard for you to get at first, learning, Billy?
Yeah, so probably the hardest thing coming into it was learning the order things happened in and what could trigger off of what.
Hmm.
So like the order things happen in kind of the first hurdle, but you can kind of get over that fairly quickly. There's like little cards that say the order things go in. Then you add in the second main phase and such, but that's fairly easy. And then figuring out, okay, this verbiage triggers this other thing, which doesn't trigger this way, but does trigger this way. I have a I built a blue black deck around who's this? Vren. That so that I could learn those mechanics a lot better. And I ran into a lot of situations, or a handful of situations, while playing against Josh and then some other people, where it's like, okay, well, this works like this triggers this. Like, well, no, that first one doesn't work like that. Or I'm going to use this to duplicate this. Like, well, that one also doesn't work that way. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, how does the verbiage like go here?
Yeah, I think the learning the stack and activated ability versus a triggered ability versus whenever something dies versus whenever something is exiled,
Hmm.
and uh, it doesn't help that some of the texts get errated from old cards too, because before there was like dying, it'd be like whenever this creature is buried or this and the other. They've changed the verbiage here and there throughout the history of Magic.
Okay.
Um, so it's really interesting to kind of see with like when you have a game that's been out for 30 years, the designers didn't know what all would be out and created new 30 years
Hmm.
down the line. So some of the old stuff and some of the new stuff, they have a reddited text in order to make it make more sense.
Hmm.
And then, is there anything, remembering back to the day, is there anything that you, Nathan or Keith, remember being kind of difficult to kind of grasp?
Hmm. I know my group, just playing, kitchen counter magic or whatever you call it, we pretty much did not interact like on the stack at all. Like we just did not play interactive magic like whatsoever. It was like pretty basic, straightforward stuff. Um, that's the only thing that sticks out to me at the moment.
Yeah, I was kind of like you, Billy, where it was like not really getting all the different steps in
Hmm.
your turn and figuring out like how all those fall. And sometimes it still doesn't work out in my brain. And it's, you're back to day one and being like, I just need to hold on real quick.
Hmm.
Let's talk through this real fast. And, so it's funny how it still gets to you because of how complex it is. I think did uh did any of you guys ever play Yu-Gi-Oh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I remember opening those, um, like the pre-made decks for Yu-Gi-Oh, and they had
Hmm.
the like foldable paper that you set out, and it had your battlefield, and it had all the steps and everything like that. And
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure Magic did the same thing, but like for my mind, Yu-Gi-Oh was so much easier and like straightforward, but there was still like tricks and everything else that you could do to it. So, um, I don't know why, but I think when it came to Magic, it was just kind of sitting there and letting like Josh Culver, Sappy, Dylan, like everybody that was around playing together. I was letting them help teach me like word of mouth instead of kind of reading through it. And it was it's a different thing like learning from your friends like Keith was saying, playing at the table, just kind of doing it as opposed to like sitting there with a paper and going through and figuring out that way. And it might have threw me off a little bit, but it's kind of fun seeing like the gathering is what kind of started this all in the first place, and it's what keeps it going. So it's kind of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, the stack, like the stack and how the order that things resolve, and also I think another thing that I knew, like because we were in the generation of the Heart of the Cards where Yu-Gi-Oh and stuff was heavily marketed to us. We were playing that, and then transitioning from that to Magic, and like, oh, you don't have to attack you actually don't attack your creatures don't attack other
Hmm.
creatures.
Hmm.
Your
Hmm.
creatures
Yeah.
attack like a life total, and then you can decide to block, and like so the blocker has eight actually has some agency. And stuff like that is kind of a different concept to get around that the defending player actually has a lot of say in how things resolve.
Hmm.
Well, and
Uh,
I think sorry to kind of get into that, but like the life total made way more sense to me on this than it did. Like it just the way that you live at 40 or 20, depending on what kind of game you're playing, as opposed to like 9,000 or whatever it is, like
Yeah,
some
it's so
ridiculously high
inflated.
number. It's like, uh, and it's still people's game. So if you love Yu-Gi-Oh, keep doing it. I love you all. Um, but uh, yeah, I think that's something that I really liked was you got to make the choice, and it wasn't just people just get to wipe all your stuff out. Sometimes they still get to do it in Magic, but it's different. There's a different way of going about it.
Kind of then kind of the other side of the coin, what sort of things were helpful for you understanding magic and just being taught like new information? What was like a beneficial approach as opposed to like information overload or whatever else blocks that you might have run in otherwise?
Yeah, so probably the most beneficial thing was, especially with Commander, is playing in small groups of people that I like knew weren't just going to be like, oh, well, I can win this round. Like I can win this game. And but instead of being like, okay, let's learn how this works. Like we can do open hand if we want, we can do closed hand. But then also like um, the first couple games you play open hand, then you start playing closed hand and still being able to be like, oh, well, you could have run it this way and then you'd get this result. Being able to take that back, do something over. Um, but yeah, playing smaller games, even just like one on one, super helpful. It's not the most, might not be the most compelling way to play Commander, but it's a really, really good way to learn it, in my experience. And then the green, white, red deck, super good to kind of see what you can do. And then honestly, having something that I could like listen to and be like, here's how you can like build out different decks. So like the deck building series you guys did was pretty helpful in getting decks set up, to then do that one-on-one play to be like, okay, well, I think I understand how this works. Can I try it out? And actually kind of like going through that. I still am not like an expert in it, but I think I've got a decent enough grasp on it that I can play, or I've been able to set up a handful of decks and play them out, and they've worked roughly how I intended. Um, so yeah, small groups with an environment that like people aren't really trying to win, just like trying to teach.
Yeah. So essentially, pub stomping is not how you teach people how to play games.
No, that's a good way, and I've tried to tell other people that are trying to teach people and bring more people in. I said that's a good way to get them to not want to play anymore.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
you, if you have been playing for a while and you're good at it, it does you no good if you're trying to build more people to play with you if you just turn them off to the game immediately. Or just beat them ruthlessly all the time. They're not going to want to play with you. And then unfortunately those people might not have other people to go and play with, so then they just sell their cards and then that's just over. So that's a conversation I've had to have with a couple of people. Um, but going off of what I think is the most beneficial, Josh, is kind of like what you were saying, gold fishing and kind of letting your deck kind of do what it wants to do, getting it out there, seeing what it does. But also, I think when you let somebody else play your deck and see how somebody else plays it, that kind of opens your mind as like another way to unlock a key of how that deck could work. Um, and then I also like having like Josh, Keith, Sam look through my deck when I'm done playing and just being like, what would you change? Like, what's a card in here that makes absolutely no sense? And then, like, Josh has a really good piece of advice of like, if you see a card in your deck and you're like, or a card outside of your deck and you're like, man, I wish this was in here. And then every time you play your deck, you draw a card that you're like, oh my God, this card sucks. Like, I keep forgetting that this is in here. Pulling that out and replacing it with that card that you think is going to be so much better usually in the long run is the best option to have and the best decision to make. So that's those are the kind of key things I have when it comes to building a new deck and seeing if it can has legs and can run through a couple tables.
Going off of Nathan's a little bit, I've been thinking about just getting a little memo notebook just for playing Commander, where you can, track game turns or like when the game ends, like how many turns it took.
Hmm.
If you needed to draw more cards, sort of the reasoning you lost, and this will keep track of win losses for a certain deck or when you need to add or subtract certain things. So if you're a data nerd, there you go. I've been thinking about doing that for a while.
That's a really fun
Uh,
idea. So that's something that my grandparents have done for years and years on games of like hand and foot and stuff. They'll write down the names of people playing, the date, and of course keeping the track of the score and stuff like that. But it's really cool to have that to be able to look back on. So that's a really good idea, Keith. I might steal that from you and just write down everybody's name, their decks, and how the games
Mm.
went. That'd be pretty cool.
Also,
um,
oh, you can go ahead.
oh yeah, with the writing stuff down, I used to play Warhammer 40K with some level of frequency. Josh played with me a handful of times as well. I did that more so I could like write up a narrative about like what happened and do like more of a story form. But it was still really helpful for being like, oh, this is what people had, this is how these things interacted, and you could see a change in like how effective different things were playing after I started writing everything down
That's
and keeping
cool.
track of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of playing Warhammer 40K against Billy, I thought like, man, Warhammer 40K is a hard game, and I mean it is. There's a lot of rules and stuff like that. It was like maybe like a 1 in 10 like win ratio, and then
Oh
I
no.
left. I stopped. So then I played a random person at like an LGS that wasn't Billy, and I just kind of smoked them. And I was like, oh, it's like this game is hard, but also Billy is just really good at Warhammer 40K.
That's
So
Um,
I
awesome.
was I was like Rock Lee just dropping the training weights off my ankles and like
Doing
zooming.
reps in the trenches.
We gotta have a Billy versus Sam 40K night or something. That'd be cool.
it has been so long since I've played that. But no, it's games with a lot of rules. Like I feel like Magic and 40K actually are 40K may have more like bigger rule books, but Um, I think it might be a similar comparison for the like learning the game sets. There's a lot of options, not really knowing where to start, and then like you got to pick something and kind of roll with it. But also, Keith, I think I interrupted you while you were
Oh, I was
making a point
just
earlier.
I was just gonna ask if you ever played Magic Arena.
Yeah, I played Arena a couple times. I never really got into it.
Mm.
I know another friend of mine did, but I don't know, it just never really like stuck with me. Don't get the same I guess dopamine hit from opening the virtual
Yeah.
cards as you do the actual ones. Um, so Spell Table has actually been a lot more helpful for me getting into it than Arena,
Oh, interesting. Okay.
because I got into it um, while I was still in Indiana and able to play in person, and then have since moved out to California. So now doing any Magic has to be online. But I play way more than I ever did
Oh, cool.
um, back in Indiana.
I think
I-
Spell Table's been an absolute game changer for uh, playing people that I want to play with because you grow up, everyone kind of spreads out. But I've played a game with Billy in California, my brother-in-law in New York, and then my wife and I were literally in just different rooms in the same house. But it's just like, but it's just like near and far. It doesn't matter. You can get everyone on the same screen and get some commander going.
Yeah, that's super fun.
Yeah, uh it's nice that the whenever the dis distances can be shrunken and bring people brought together by a new product, and
Hmm.
especially one that enables us to play this uh game that we like so much. So
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so then and I think just kind of looking forward and is there anything coming up that you're looking forward to with Magic, Billy? Any new products that you were interested in, or any new commanders you were looking at?
Yeah, so as with most people, I think the Avatar set is one that I'm excited for. Trying to get my wife into Magic, and she's also excited about the Avatar set. So we'll probably make a couple decks out of that. But I also got a handful of the commanders. So essentially, each of the ones that I recommended during the deck building series, I actually ended up getting just a version of them.
Oh, that's
Cool.
awesome.
And I've been trying to like go through and build out the decks as I've been going. So Marisi Break of the Coil is the next one that I'm working on. And so I'm excited to work on that and then get into the Avatar set. Uh, I was hoping to get some more of the sci-fi stuff, but just things haven't worked out that way. So um, yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to on that.
Then for Avatar, are you thinking, not necessarily for this card set because we don't have everything released yet, but
Mhm.
do you think you tend more towards like Waterbender, Airbender, Earthbender, or Firebender?
Um, Honestly, I'd probably try and make a firebending deck first.
Firebending looks
But
cool.
yeah, I actually don't know much about how those interact. I just assumed that those were transcribing onto the colors. But I don't know if there's specific like um rules that have been released about the Atlas set that like has the different bending styles doing different mechanics.
Yep. So the red one is really neat because fire breathing is whenever you attack, you get certain amount of red mana, but you have to use it during your combat. So it's just you're going to use it like
Okay.
ins like instantly to make things stronger or do combat tricks, and so you like
Mhm.
burn through your stuff during combat, which feels very flavorful.
Yeah,
Do you
maybe
get
make
burned if
a
you
blue
don't
deck.
use it?
They brought back Mana Burn just for this.
That'd be kind of cool.
What you got,
Oh,
Keith?
real quick, the debut stream for Avatar: The Last Airbender is tomorrow on the official Magic the Gathering YouTube channel. So they're going to show the set mechanics, cards, booster fun treatments, and more. And then more previews following that.
By tomorrow, we mean Tuesday, and this comes out on Thursday.
Oh,
So you're
October 28th.
so go back and watch it after you watch this. Make sure to watch all of this podcast and then go see it, please. I'm just kidding. Do what you want. We're not your mom.
Yeah, we're the ghosts of Magic Past. We're just
That
Good guess at
happens.
reflect.
what.
That happens a lot on here. We're like, oh yeah, go do this, and then we're like, oh yeah, never mind. I mean, go
Get
back and try and see if you can find it. I guess.
go into this time machine and enjoy this thing that gets released 2 days ago.
Could always guess at what the mechanics do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
I know I saw the fire one. Earth is
I don't
Earth.
think they revealed the earthbending yet.
Mm.
Maybe.
I think it'll be
Let
something
me look
like
real quick.
landfall, like extra
Uh,
landfall type stuff.
Let me see.
I bet.
Current previews. Yep, no earthbending,
Okay, so
but
that's
there
my
is
guess for
waterbending
Earth.
and fire.
What
I
does water
think
do?
Waterbend, while paying a waterbend cost, you can tap your artifacts and creatures to help. Each one pays for one. So there's a waterbend on an enchantment here. It says enchanted creature's owner shuffles it into their library. It's just like a tacked on effect.
oh, so it's like
See,
affinity for something
A
like
little
that.
bit,
Or
yeah, with reduced cost. So it's
if we
like
were being
exhaust.
flavorful, I feel like waterbending should be cascade. Just, cascading waterfalls of.
the
Let me
thing
see
is,
if
then
it's
waterbending would be infinite. It's already, I think, pretty strong, but it'd be infinitely stronger than everything else.
Isn't
And
blue always the strongest anyway?
yeah.
green begs to differ.
Well, that's why
So
you make that extra super duper landfall. Oh no, Grant.
yeah, so waterbend is just like an additional effect with cost reduction tacked on to like a bottom of a card. So it can do a whole bunch of things, it looks like.
So they
Oh,
just gave blue kicker.
found Earthbend.
Oh,
It is like animating lands. Comes to 0/0, and then you put 1/1 counters on it.
oh, so it's like Risen Reef, right?
See here.
Airbending, give everything flying for a cost.
That would be sweet.
Okay. Airbend. This one says airbend target non-land permanent and in parentheses exile it. While it's exiled, its owner may cast it for 2 rather than its mana cost.
Oh,
Okay.
So
okay.
spamming ETBs and stuff like that. I've actually been
Yeah.
enjoying doing that
A
lately. So
Abuelo likes
yeah,
that.
yeah, and yeah. So abusing Tigum, stuff like that. So I might just have to paint like an arrow on my bald head whenever that comes out.
Do easy costume.
Yeah,
Get
But
some
keep the
drapes.
beard.
yeah. Keep the beard. Do you like the Aang that's seen some stuff?
Yeah.
Or you could be adult Aang, or like
Yeah.
there's a Legend of Korra, what his like son has a beard. I
J.K.
don't
Simmons,
remember
Buff
Tenzin.
their
Santa.
names. Yeah.
Dude, I love Buff Santa. Let's go.
Yep, starting October 28th previews. Let's go.
All
Yeah.
right. Yeah, that'll be
I
exciting.
forget what the question was.
Yeah.
It's what we're most looking forward to from Magic, right?
Yeah, like coming up.
Okay. I'm excited for, and I'm sorry for people that this is gonna offend. The new slop drop that just happened for PlayStation,
Let's
on
go.
Secret Lair. I'm excited to play with some of my favorite video game characters and bring them into my favorite trading card game. And hopefully they get the treatment that some of the other commanders that have come out, like the Walking Dead commanders, got reskinned and stuff like that, and you'll get to play with them. And if you don't want to play with them, then don't play with them. But if I want to play with Kratos, I'm gonna have fun playing with Kratos and Nathan Drake and
That
all the other
Kratos is
people.
cool.
So
Yeah, some cool
I'm
commander
excited for
cards in
that.
there.
Yep. I'm actually so something I'm excited for, which is also controversial, is I want to see if we can have hybrid mana cards be accepted into this rule change so that hybrid mana cards can be played with monocolor decks. Uh, so uh,
Can you kind of explain that just in case people haven't seen that
yeah,
news?
yeah. So but they did some adjustments to the bracket system, and then they also projected some potential changes. One of those changes is hybrid mana symbols, which would be like red/green. Could be you can play either or red's mana source or green mana source to cast that uh, color. Uh, Before in Commander, that means you could only play it in a Gruul deck because it's red and green. Moving forward, it could be played in mono green decks or mono red decks as well, or just any deck that can has that in its identity, and that's going to open the door for like a whole lot of more cards to enter the ecosystem. I think it's going to bring some healthy options to some of the colors that tend to struggle in comparison to other decks in Commander, like mono white, mono red. They've been having to invent new ways to keep them competitive with the other three colors and allowing them some hybrid access to like better card draw, better land ramp, and stuff like that kind of keeps them in the game more so than they are currently. So I'm excited to see where that goes. I know it's pretty controversial. People are afraid of it becoming like a unisystem where then like if you can only play a hybrid thing to draw from like mono red, or you can only play this one land draw in white, or this, that, or the other, that it becomes a unisystem and certain cards will just shoot up, and it'll probably happen, but they'll print more. But I don't know. It's controversial. I'm
Oh,
always
blurry.
for more options. But Keith, you're chomping at the bit to
Keith,
redact something.
You wiggle fingered.
Well, they did have a couple of stipulations. So in the text box, it can only also have hybrid mana symbols and not like both symbols. 'Cause if it contains like one or both, it's a no-go in like a monocolor deck. But if it still has the hybrid symbol in the box, then you're good to go. So the options are kind of limited. So yeah, that
What
helps a
about,
little bit with not like breaking it too bad.
does it help with some of those planeswalkers that have like a single color on their one side, but they flip and they have a different color identity on the back? but it's just a border color and it's not a pip, would that, I wonder if they would fit
Hmm.
into the new, if they would be accepted into
That's
that new
that's
rule.
probably an entirely different issue. I have no idea.
You know what
Yeah,
I'm
I think
saying? Because it's like Garrick that I was
Yeah,
talking about
yeah, yeah.
before.
yeah, absolutely. And that's super speaking of things that are confusing for new players, like, hey,
Oh yeah.
this rules that you told me where I can only play colors that are in here. This color is in the casting cost and I can play this card. Then you have someone say like, across the table say, no, you can't cast that, even though it has a casting cost within the colors within the rules that we've told you about. Because on the other side of it, with no casting cost, it's a different color. And you're like, what?
I
So
just
I
I
thought
didn't
they
know
wanted
that
to
was
use a
the
different
thing.
color on the back.
wait, Billy, you said what was that?
Oh yeah, I didn't know that there were cards that did that, and I absolutely would have been like, well, this one's blue. I'm just not going to use the other side.
Yeah, that
True.
too. Just like
Yeah.
the two colored combos that where you have like the option or something like that. Like
Mhm.
it can be a lot more intuitive than it is. I think allowing the hybridization mana into EDH will improve the new player experience. That
Ooh,
Keith put up his
Is
finger.
Keith's
yeah,
fingering again.
I'm just gonna say it's gonna break the color pie a little bit and make it a little more, confusing.
Keith's gonna put a finger in that pie.
Yeah. So and also uh yes. Oh,
No,
Oh,
Crashed and I'm
I
back.
don't know.
Keith
dude.
got taken out by a
B- uh,
Pinkerton.
uh, yeah, big hybrid man had put Keith down.
Tried to keep me down.
Keith's
Oh
Um,
man,
warning us about the homogenization that's going to destroy Magic in our future. But anyway, Billy, what was that?
so you mentioned that like this change might make mono red and mono white more competitive. Why would it do that, and why are those two like why don't they do as well? I guess I don't quite understand what the difference between them, like why that would be a thing.
Okay, so like in Magic, card draw and ramp are two of the strongest things that you can be doing. So like
Mhm.
building a mana base and drawing, those are two very strong features where green is the best at build ramping and then also has a bunch of draw options because they were decided, oh, if you have a big creature, you get to draw for this or this, that, or the
Mhm.
other. And then blue is just known for like drawing like crazy. And then black is like you punch yourself in the nuts and then you get to draw cards. So
Mhm.
it has that option. And then but red was just is really competitive in like a 60 card format where it's just like 1v1 and you're like burning through people. But then
Mhm.
they're like, if you're burning through four people, it's really hard. You run out of cards in your hand, you get exhausted. So
Mhm.
then they gave red things like Impulse Draw, where you could like exile cards and have access to them as a kind of like pseudo draw to help them catch up.
Mhm.
And then white just kind of struggles with its identity. It was supposed to be control and like law and order, so it has the most board wipes, but it also doesn't have a clean like land draw engine or
Mhm.
card draw engine all the time. They've been working on it with like creatures that help you find a plains on ETB, or if an opponent has more lands than you can go find a land and
Mhm.
like catch up mechanics. But catch up mechanics don't feel so good whenever other people have steal the whole bakery mechanics. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, white kind of makes everybody at the table play slow along with the controller of the white. So it's
Yeah, they
kind of
want to even things out, but it's very hard to get ahead like resource wise with white. So if you had access to other pieces of the color pie, it would definitely give you a little more tools to work with.
Okay. Yeah. No, that makes sense. Almost seems like white would be benefited by an ability that lets you like instead of like draw like tap other people's creatures, be like, okay, well, I'm gonna be behind in mana, but you don't get to. I'm gonna keep you from being able to attack me or something like that, which maybe it
so
already does.
there are a lot of creatures in white that, like you said, that can like tap and tap target creature. Only problem is blue also has that, but better. So it's just like they're like, oh, but
Yeah.
blue's like cold and water, so we can freeze them. And then white was like, but that was like my one of my only things, and now blue has it and better. Why?
Yeah, then blue has so many like, okay, I'm not only gonna freeze you, but I'll also turn you into a frog or like a ape or like a piece of nothingness. And so it was like, yeah, it's like anytime white gets anything, all the other colors get it, but better.
Yeah, no, that's a really good
It's
point because like White was like, "Oh, I have like the bad gift where I can turn anything to an elephant." And then they're like, "Oh, we're gonna give Blue like four of those. Like frog,
Yeah.
germ, we'll put him on the freaking moon in blue."
yeah.
Mhm.
It's White's birthday, but they get the consolation present.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, the only and I mean correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the only thing that is spread out amongst the five colors that white kind of has an upside to another color on is the Praetors, and I'm just talking because red got Urabrask and poor Urabrask tries really hard to do stuff, but no one cares.
But then that's red the second like the second worst, then getting pooped on to make white feel slightly better.
Yeah.
So that doesn't help either. Like red was like, hey, we tripped the kid who usually gets fourth so that you could get fourth, and then he gets fifth for once.
And everybody still gets a ribbon, so it's okay.
Yes. But yeah, so I think hybrid mana can help that and then but then also I do get that it could absolutely throw off the entire color pie ecosystem, but I feel like the system got thrown off by green getting everything anyway. So oh,
Damn.
oh Keith, but I get the
I mean,
finger again then.
Wow.
I was against it until we talked about it a little bit, honestly. I
Yeah.
think it's, nice to get a couple more tools in your toolbox. So,
Yeah, I think anytime anyone wants to argue against the split, you just need to look at green and be like, "Mm, green gets draw, they get life, they get landfall, uh they have everything except for flying in mass, but they have reach, so they don't care. It's fine. Green
Yeah.
is too healthy, and everyone else looks sick by comparison." Yeah, that's the anytime. Yeah, I'll stand by that. I will hard stamp that and let anyone else disagree with me. And they probably have perfectly reasonable explanations and some like old cards that would absolutely wreck the meta and destroy everything as we know it. But I don't know those cards, so I'm just gonna hard sell. I'm gonna hard stamp. Yes, uh, all the hybrid mana cards, no exceptions, flat. Let them all out. Release the hounds.
Yeah. At least from like a new player perspective, if I'm putting together a deck and I don't know that it's like you can only have this card in here if every color is represented. And I think I learned this from doing it was I tried to be like, oh, well, this card is like, I don't know, red and green. It's like, well, your deck is green and white. So you gotta change that. But it has green. I'm not gonna use the red. I can't use the red. I want the green.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
pasted a bunch of hybrid cards in this chat here. If you click on that, if you want to take a peek.
Ooh, yes. Maybe also link that to Nathan so he can
Yeah,
put it.
send that to me in a text and I'll put it in the description of the video. So if anybody else wants to check out what Keith just sent, look in the description of the video and you'll be able to check that out.
Yeah, it's just hybrid mana tag from Scryfall.
And that's the other thing is when you're using like Moxfield and other deck building tools, the really good ones tell you if your deck's legal or not. And so that's what helped with the Neferox deck and finding out there were cards that couldn't be in there. Um, and I think the issue was we weren't really playing a ton of Commander back at Ball State. It was more of like we were doing Friday Night Magic like standard type stuff. So I think I might have built that deck during COVID before we were all playing together, and then that might have been part of the issue with putting cards on there. And then once I used the deck builder, it was like, nope, you can't do that. You're doing no stuff. So
Yeah. Also, I think like if you're bringing something to the table and it's not like utterly broken, and we're like, yeah, I think that's about right, then we're not gonna really question it. But then if something's like utterly broken, then we might flip through the rule book. So
Right.
yeah. So uh, now since we said utterly broken, I think we're about have this episode wrapped up. Any closing remarks that you want to say, Billy, or anything that you want to shout out?
No, not really. Just appreciate you guys like the effort and care you put into these. They're always a good listen. Keep keep it up. And yeah, look forward to hearing more of it.
Yeah, we definitely loved having you on the episode today. It was an absolute blast, and your participation in the comments and like always being supportive is such a huge help for us. And like, we can't tell you how much we appreciate you.
He
Yeah.
was number one.
Yeah,
Still
MVP,
is.
MVP.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks for being down to join us and having
Mhm.
a fun chat with us. And um, I mean, it's been a great time, and we always look forward to seeing what you have to say because it's always really good comments that we can get into and kind of break down for a little bit for each episode whenever you bring one up. So I appreciate it. I appreciate you watching, and um, thanks for being here. And we, I mean, I feel like you've got a spot here if you ever want to come back. So just let us know. I
Yeah,
appreciate
if
it.
I'd be happy to come back if you need someone to fill the spot. But yeah, I'll keep putting stuff up and looking forward to the next episodes.
Awesome.
Awesome. Glad to hear it. So with that, uh, for your first question of does this episode resolve? Billy, does this episode resolve?
I think it does.
Okay, Nathan, does it resolve?
Yeah, it resolves. Yeah.
Keith, does this episode resolve?
Yes, sir.
Well, that's all, folks. Thanks for joining us today in today's episode
Yeah.
in the new player experience. If there's anything that you struggled with as a new player or enjoyed as a new player, was helpful for you as a new player, let us know below. Just let us. We love to hear from you. So comment, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks,
So yeah,
Billy.
yeah, thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Hexproof from Ward. If you like what you heard, you can continue to listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can watch us on YouTube. You can also give us a follow on Instagram and Blue Sky. We'll see you next week.